Oh my freaking god, bruh. Hello, Joe. Thank you so much for telling me. I've been talking for the past 7 minutes, and I was just getting so personal. Oh my god. Okay, a quick recap of what I was saying. Uh, I was saying that I feel like I'm under delivering. Yeah. Emily told me about that. Man, that blew. Honestly, yesterday I was very tired to even check, to even double check. I was just like, let me start the stream. Uh, the reason why actually is that the day after it, on Saturday, a member of my family was a bit sick, and so I was not trying to make like noise, and so I wrote on the chat. I wrote that I was going to mute my mic, and I'm not going to talk. It's just going to be drawing, and thankfully, alhamdulillah, that member of my family right now is well. But I kept it I kept it on mute, and yesterday I streamed entirely on mute, and I forgot about it. And so yeah, like I said, I was the past couple of weeks I was so tired, and I feel like I was under delivering when it comes to the channel, and it's just that there's this feeling of like loss and loss as into like what do I do next? I mean, I do know there's plenty of options as in like what to do next, right? I can just like jump back on an anatomy, or just like keep drawing manga panels or stuff like that, but it's just I'm a incertitude. What is what is that in English? Uncertain? FUD? What's FUD? What do you mean? Uh, it's just that I spent the past couple of days not learning anything really. Which I mean, I don't want to blame myself too much. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Doubt. I don't really have a doubt. No, I don't have a doubt. Fear, I don't, it's not fear. I don't think, maybe a bit. Uncertainty, absolutely. I'm just uncertain. You know, when you have like plenty of options, it's a a very well known thing. When you have plenty of options, that you end up choosing none, or just like struggling for a long time to choose one. And so limiting yourself to 2 to 3 options, for example, can help you a lot instead of like having millions of options. But anyways, like I said, I feel like I was under delivering and not learning a lot, not learning anything really. I was just like tracing over this piece. Yeah. So what I should be doing, I said when I was muted, I should just like I set out a plan uh for things that I need to do starting next week, like uh from Monday, from tomorrow to next Sunday. And so maybe I should be doing the same thing when it comes to streaming. And so if you feel like, take freaking notes. If you feel like you are not sure about one aspect, take notes. Yeah, I do write. Like I said, I have a journal. I do write every day on it. So yeah, when it comes to that aspect, I do, and I do have like a board here as well. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there, and I write a bunch of stuff on it, like things that I want to do and plans and stuff like that. So when it comes to that, don't worry. It's just that I feel like when it comes to now, just before streaming, actually, I was writing on it. I feel like I'm not locked in, and I need to get back on track. I feel like I'm swaying a little bit. This is the track, and I feel like I'm going a bit sideways. I feel I need to get back to the track. And so what I think I should just jump on next, maybe for next week, is this coloring, right? I need to learn how to color because I don't know how. That's one. I mean, I do know how to color block, but it's just like very simple, minimalistic sort of color blocking with stylized shading and stylized um, highlights. But I don't know a lot when it comes to coloring on Photoshop. So I thought maybe we can learn that from starting today. Um, so yeah, uh, I just wanna be sorry about the past couple of days, even though I know I was tired, but whatever. But uh, I could have just done a bit more. I could have just done like just a bit more, you know. Uh, yes. So, uh, what do we do? Actually, before I start watching like coding tutorials, and maybe you can just like guide me through this, Joe, and just like give me some coloring videos that I can watch. That would be amazing. But before doing that, actually, the reference here when it comes to Tyler, Tyler is a pretty chunky dude, and so like this is a regular body, human body anatomy. It's good, whatever. But when it comes to this reference, for example, we see here that he's pretty skinny, and so maybe instead of just like having his hand or his yeah his arm glued to his body, maybe we can make like just a little bit of a gap here to emphasize that he's skinny. Yeah, maybe we can do that. We've got Marco Bucci stuff. Bucci, is that is that the right way to say it? Blender. Oh, I see. I think I've seen him some. Oh, I've seen some of his videos, and I think I've seen some of it. I think you recommended some of his videos as well. But yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Paint like arcane. Ooh, that's cool. All right. So okay, keep thinking like that for real, for real. Yeah, yeah. Um, I just want to say sorry to you, Joe, for just like you have been very supportive throughout the journey, and I feel like I don't want to let you down, and to be quite fair, I have been slacking off a little bit uh, these past couple of days, so I just want to say I'm sorry, and I am sorry to myself as well. So yeah. The one that sucked ass at the beginning and started working for Disney. Yeah, yeah. I've seen one of his videos where he talked about sucked ass though, where he talked about how he kept doing gesture drawing for roughly like 2 years, maybe even more. And it's like that's interesting because I don't feel like that's a good way to go. Maybe, I don't know. To each his own, I guess, but uh I feel like I share the same opinion as to Psychra. I feel hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Psychra talks about the things that you should need to learn for first. Proportions is first, structure is second, and I think there's something in between. Maybe anatomy is third, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then fourth is gesture. And uh, Psycho is, he probably knows what he's doing. But I mean, like anatomy and gesture can go hand to hand. A lot of the stuff, a lot of these like steps, quote unquote, can go hand to hand. So it's not learning one thing and moving on to the other. Anyways, I need to get drawing because it's been 17 minutes. I haven't drawn anything. So maybe, like I said, we can make him a little bit skinnier. and I'm gonna duplicate the sketch. If you keep thinking structured like that, you will feel overwhelmed and stuck into a solid method. Yeah, exactly. I do agree 100%. I feel like just like go loose with it. It doesn't matter really. Learn a little bit of this, learn a little bit of that, maybe even have an idea, and then just like try to see how it works for you, you know? Nobody really can tell you how you can do it. I think, personally. Oh, and would you look at this? Doesn't that look a little bit better? Maybe we can do the same here. Oh my god. 100%. I nailed it. I nailed it. But we can go something like this when it comes to these lines. As in like this is a structured box, let's say, and they go like this way. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. Same goes here. Yeah, that's fine. I like that. But that is not really how we study stuff. Remember that those stuff have to be in your body of work. Look, I'm sorry, there's a bit of a delay when it comes to what I was talking about earlier and when I read the chat. So and I really have a memory of a fish. Yeah, but yeah, studying stuff. I think we agree that maybe just like when you don't know what you're doing, try a little bit of everything and try to judge by yourself what the first thing you should learn is, but don't ignore the other stuff. However, if you have like a mentor, then that's like a free ticket to becoming better in a way shorter time. But okay, let's get on the clean stuff. Self-critique is very important. Being able to handle comparison without getting personal, getting feedback without getting sour or feeling worthless. Yeah. It's just that maybe it's not about not being able. Sometimes, absolutely. By the way, I do 100% agree. It's just that sometimes maybe it's about not being able to see what is wrong with your work. And sometimes you just have to, you need a third party to show your mistakes. For example, on a few occasions, I can't really pinpoint which ones exactly, but I'm pretty sure I was drawing at some point and you were seeing something. And you were seeing something that was wrong with my drawing, but I was not necessarily seeing. And for multiple times, especially the past few days, I was drawing faces, right? And you've been there, you watching me. I mean, I was drawing faces, and then I realized later on, looking back at the drawing, that some of the proportions are not correct, for example. And so, yeah, you either need to focus really well, especially when you're beginning, because when you're like more advanced, sort of, you just like you train your eye so much that you pick on the mistakes better. I applaud you for not banning me for trying to critique it. Yeah. Honestly, if you were toxic about it, you would have been absolute 100% banned. But you're very respectful about it, and you're just like you genuinely wanted to, you want to help, and so I appreciate you for that. All right, now this whole thing, the lighting here is very dramatic, very dramatic. The easiest lone way to do it is to study the concept fundamental in the theory level. Lamar, I've been banned even without backseating, just stayed in chat and said I was a backseater. What? That's okay, that's insane. Like, in what aspect does it bother them? Why would they ban you? Like, what did you do? And I shall respect it. People won't trust critique like that, and they are correct. And I shall respect it. Though, okay, look. I was not, for example, when it comes to us, I was not gonna take critique from you unless I knew what you were doing, right? Unless I knew that you were professional, because sometimes, you know, some people can be, you know, not professionals, but still trying to sound, I don't know, smart or like they know what they're doing, and they just be giving, you know, critique and not necessarily being healthy about it. But I've seen your work, Joe. I've seen your stuff, and a 100% trust. Look, for if a person got to where you got, you must have at least one thing, a thing, or you must at least know a thing or two about what you're doing. I've seen your stuff, right? So yeah, I do trust you. Since I'm not the one that will give them the wake-up call that critique is everywhere, your expectations will keep growing, but your ways won't. Yes, 100%. Since you can't receive feedback. Yeah, that's it's like living in a bubble. You don't really know what you're doing. You're just like raw dogging it. And you're going, it's like you're going everywhere, but you're going nowhere at the same time. And maybe you're just like going in a circle. You're not moving forward. That's the catch, Lamau. They be gambling if I'm actually helpful or not. Yeah, exactly. It's a bit, you know, it's judgmental, which sucks. You know, man, I read one thing somewhere. I don't know if it's in a book or just like me scrolling Facebook, but I read that there's some people that are good, that are there in my life so we can learn from them. And there's also some people that just, and this is like, I don't know that, I'm not saying this verbatim, but there's also some people who suck that remind us not to be like them, right? We're not necessarily there to change them because they will not accept change, but they can serve as a reminder for us to not be like them. And that's very interesting. Like, it sort of like relieves the burden from me, just like, oh, maybe I should just like give them advice. Obviously, do give them advice, but if they're very stubborn about their ways, just like give advice and then like pull back. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be receptive if someone like me came by announcing that they have a knife. I guess you figured out why I do this. Yeah, yeah, it's just very interesting. And like I said, I always say this, and I don't want to be like sappy all the time, but I appreciate you being here. All right. I reckon that's good. We did that. So now we need to move on to watch a coloring video. Now, when it comes to colors, I don't know, like, I really don't know anything. Do I go for colors like this, or do I just like, these feel blocky, sort of, but they're still like shaded very well. So yeah, good God. Come on now. Okay. All right. So color paint like arcane. Okay, I need a shorter video. That's a 20 minutes video, and I'm planning on ending this about now. So never struggle with flesh tone. What I learned from cosplay. That's it. That's interesting. Do this to make your art look professional. Understanding every type of clothing folds. I need to watch that. That's interesting. Coloring to the artist's blender. How to render digital art using layers, brushes included. Okay, man, this is too much. Okay, maybe, okay, I'll watch like 10 minutes of this video. I watched like half of it.
Last month.
Ah, that's loud. 10 minutes to better 10 minutes to better painting. Ooh, let's see. Oh my God, this is it. Wait, this is Photoshop, right? Wait, what's happening? This is theory. This is all theory.
How about and see how much more? So I'll work up
Wait, is this series all theory or
everywhere. 3, 2, extrapolate from there. One of these boxes gather information about little or no
painting
from
demonstration? Okay, I need to okay, definitely gonna watch this, by the way. It's a play to just give it a shot. All of them. Yeah, I am going to do that, but I just need to say that I need to get better on the technical side as well. I don't want to learn just theory. I want to be able to, you know, learn about the brushes and how to use them and stuff like that. So hopefully this will meet the requirement. All right, let's go. Take notes. Okay, that sounds. Okay, I'll actually pull up like a notebook or something. Wait, I'll give this a go, and that's going to be the end of the stream. Let me grab. Well, I don't have a notebook, but I have this, so. All right, shut up. Wait,
It's time to break out your pocket watch and your paintbrushes for this episode of 10 Minutes to Better Painting. Okay. I'm your host, Marco Bucci. Each episode will be structured as follows. Part 1 will be a short lesson that gets us into the subject with some visual examples. Part 2 will feature a full painting demonstration where I will show you how to apply the episode's lesson to your work. And Part 3 will be a final wrap-up of the episode with some closing thoughts. Richard Schmid said once that painters don't see more information than other people do, they actually see less. This episode is about merging shapes. You know that old painting maxim that advises you to simplify? Well, merging shapes is one of the many possible ways to do it. I love these etchings by Anders Zorn. They contain such a strong statement of light and character and mood and composition, and yet the medium is so primitive, it's just a bunch of chicken-scratched lines on paper. Now, Zorn was a master of simplification and merging shapes, and that's exactly the tool he used to get such a high degree of quality here. Let me show you what I mean with a very simple example. Let's put 4 simple objects in this frame. And these objects will be lit by light, which means they also cast a shadow. We just painted a picture. But it's not all that exciting, right? I mean, it looks computer generated and boring. It certainly doesn't look like light. But why? Let's count the number of shapes in it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had to make 9 shapes just to paint that? Geez, that's gluttony. Let's see if we can simplify this by merging some shapes together. I'll start by duplicating the painting. Now watch as it slowly fades into a simplified version. The same picture, but with the shapes merged together. Let's count the shapes in this version. 1 shape for all of that, 2, 3, and 4. I just reduced the shapes by more than half. Merging shapes means a reduction of information. I've given up the silhouette of every one.
Okay, let me think about it for a second, because that's very, very, very interesting. Okay. Okay, that's, man. Uh, yeah. I'm just this because obviously this applies to the shading method or whatever. You have a drawing tablet, bro. You can take notes after or note it while revisiting parts of the video. No, it's okay. I like taking notes while watching the video, but they actually see less. Let me get back to the quote. Painters don't see more information than other people do. They see less. Wow. That's very interesting. I need to let that sink in for a second.
See
And I need to watch
less.
that again.
This episode is about merging shape.
Remember way back when I said, yeah, to hold a cube and rotate it in real life, you could do that for seeing less, simplify information in shadows, values. We already simplified the human body in a stick figure. Exactly, yeah. And so the sort of like the principle of like trying to simplify shapes into simplify things into more primitive shapes. It's just that, but this is applied to coloring. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting because I feel like that right there is the difference between the more stylized sort of like drawings and the more like sort of like closer to reality stuff. Because for example, when it comes to a motion project, we use a lot of vector shapes. And he counted in the videos the number of shapes and he counted like 8. Obviously, in a motion project, there's more than 8 shapes just because everything is vector. And so that's very interesting. That's very interesting. That's like
shapes.
I'm seeing it from another perspective now.
Just to paint that? Geez, that's gluttony. Let's see if we can simplify this by merging some shapes together. I'll start by duplicating the painting. Now watch as it slowly fades into a simplified version. The same picture, but with the shapes merged together. Let's count the shapes in this version. 1 shape for all of that, 2, 3, and 4. I just reduced the shapes by more than half. Merging shapes means a reduction of information. I've given up the silhouette of every one of those little objects in favor of a larger silhouette. Fewer things to look at. A more simplified, effective statement. The reason we simplify is to allow the mood to come through. And mood, that's where we simplify.
I love these quotes.
Is to allow the mood to come through.
And it's like, okay, this is making me think. This is making me really think. And I'm not even like thinking about drawing anymore. Why is it that anything turns out so beautiful only when we start, at least only when it is simplified, or only when it is started with simple objects or simple stuff, right? Let me get back the music real quick, because I don't know if I'm making sense or if I'm like saying this correctly, but let's say a human body. Like, a human body is beautiful, right? But when we're drawing a human body, it is only beautiful when we start with, for example, the action line, and then the bigger shapes, and then going deeper and deeper in it. So like a sculpture. And so it is only beautiful when we start from the macro and then going bit by bit into the micro. And so that makes me think about the creation of these things. And so, for example, I'm trying to draw a body. I'm trying to recreate that body. But when it comes to the creation of that body itself, how was the process? Was it the same? Did God create us by making simple shapes first, and then going into the detail bit by bit? Or was it just like streamlined, beginning to end details from beginning to end, right? I don't know if you're with me here, Joe. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. So maybe I can benefit from your input. But that's really making me think. Like, it just hit me right now. Why you think noobs tend to zoom in so close to the characters and make them kind of wonky? Because they can't see the bigger shapes. Yeah, yeah. And let's say God, they focus on the small thing that wouldn't be able to see in a thumbnail. Let's say God started our creation, for example, the human body. I'm sorry, I'm going into such an existential discussion right here, but say God created us starting with the backbone, or the action line, if you want to say, and then the bigger shapes first, and then went into detail bit by bit. Does that mean that we are trying to imitate God when we draw some things? Is there an imitation to creation when it comes to drawing? And is it allowed? Like, I am not God, obviously, so why am I trying to do something that God is doing? Right? You already did that? Does it matter now? What do you mean? Did what? Any produce is like that. art is everything, then yeah, yeah, it is. Based on the hypothesis, we keep transforming it regardless. Okay, based on the idea that God started creating us with the bigger shapes first, right? Because if he didn't, then me trying to start with the bigger shapes first is not imitation to God, and so that's okay, right? But if God did create us starting with the bigger shapes first, or the equivalent to that, I don't know, right? Then is what I'm doing considered imitation to how God created things? Am I tripping? Pretty sure no, but maybe that's what every religion would depict creation as. You know what's crazy, Joe? Is that when it comes to Islam, for example, you just witness the creation. Okay, let me read that. You just witness the creation, you are the byproduct of it, and the product is the byproduct of you. Yeah. I mean, what I'm doing, which is drawing, for example, is never going to come to the level of what God did with us, which is create us, gave us souls and everything like that. What I'm going to be drawing is not going to be as good as me, right? But what I was gonna say is some school of thoughts. It's okay, bro. Drawing is not haram. No, listen. Some school of thoughts in Islam do say that drawing is not permissible. And the reason they give is that our drawings, it's just like we equate drawing to sculpture, as in like we start you have like a block of a rock, sort of like, or material or whatever, and then you start shaping it bit by bit until you have like your statue or whatever. The same thing is with the drawing. And people back in the days used to worship some of those statues, right? And so it's basically the equivalent when you draw something, and there's potential there to equate something to God, and that is not permissible when it comes to Islam. There's only one God, and you should only worship one God, and you cannot equate anything to him, right? And so that's some schools of thoughts. Another opinion is that you can draw, but you can draw inanimate objects, meaning that you cannot draw animals or humans, but you can draw, for example, what do you call them? Paysage. What do you call paysage? Oh fuck. Oh man, bro, I got scared. Paysage is what in English? I forgot. Uh, like sightseeings, for example, you can draw like trees, you can draw green stuff, you can draw urban cities, you can draw stuff like that. but you can't draw animate objects. And so that's the first school of thought says that you cannot draw, it's not permissible. The second school of thought is that you cannot draw inanimate objects, and the third school of thought says that you can draw only if it is for a good reason. Only if it is going to be for the benefit of something somehow, right? For example, when you're trying to teach kids, for example, it will obviously be easier to teach them with images, drawings, pictures like that. And so it's okay to draw. But then, hello Emily, yeah, what's up? But then if you're drawing for a bad reason, if you're trying to depict some stuff that is not really permissible, let's say, well, these days we reduced art as just a product anyways. That is true. That is true. That is true. But the majority of people lean towards the third opinion, is that you can draw, it's just that make it for a good reason. Don't make it for a bad reason. And we both know what the bad reasons could be. I don't need to go into it. Right? So, yeah. Yeah, but that just made me think about the relationship between God and the creation, i.e. God and me as his creation, and then me and my drawing, right? Because in a sense, you can say that my drawing is a creation of me, right? And so that was just interesting to me. Okay, I went into a very, very existential discussion here. I probably need to end the stream right now because I need to get some stuff done. I'd rather be inspired by God's creation instead of steal other people's work. Well, what do you say? Like shots cold, shots fired? Yeah, shots fired. Yeah. That's just like thought-provoking. It's just like something to think about for a second. Well, won't you agree? No, 100%. I do agree. I do agree. I do think that anything that we take straight, the entire thing. No, look, Joe, I really love you, but I really need to just go. I will watch the entire thing tomorrow, inshallah. It's very late, and I have a big day tomorrow, and I've wasted most of today doing literally nothing, so I need to get some stuff done. All right, but this is on the playlist 100%. Like the video, like and subscribe. So once we watch some of the videos, maybe I feel comfortable, I feel like I know some stuff, we'll take a jab on this and see what we do. All right, thank you so much for watching. Emily, thank you so much for being here, saying hi. I'm sorry, I'm ending the stream now, but yeah. I really appreciate you, Joe, for being here. And yeah, peace the freak out.